Okay. The how should no agreement knows anoshim al tzibur. As a congregation which is accustomed to appoint people upon the needs of tzibur, is man for a certain amount of time. Okay, is man yetsu elu v'yakansu achem tachtem. When this time comes, these ones will leave and other ones will come under them instead of them. Bein l'chazan, bein l'kupa, whether for it to be a chazan or whether for the tzedakah box. Okay, for whatever you use tzedakah. And shel tzedakah, for a box tzedakah. Bein l'shar menuyim, whether for other pointing needs. Three from the tzibur, they need the congregation. Whether they're taking payment or not taking payment. Is not even being sent for them a time. Some look at Perusha, and some of them similarly is like explained that it's just for the regular time. Since this is in the custom. Yesh Mishakas is those that write. The Shliach Tzibur Yispal Mitoch Sefer Hamayuchal Tzibur, that the Shliach Tzibur has to dump from the Sefer which is set for the congregation. Dividely Niftal the Shmo for its sure set, sure wrote for his name. That's what that means. Is when the Mariel B'Shem Rokeach. And Shibul is man for the Shibul for a certain amount of time. I'm B'Chivus Kam the Shlomo. Look at the responses from the Shlomo Sim Zayin. B'Scharu Chazan Lizman Shaloshanim. You paid for a chazan or hired him for 3 years. The Masig Dahaf Dina Dahaf that even concludes about this thing over here. It's only when the minhag is that they after this time that they leave. But in our times, the in there of the south below chashad. It's not the way to remove them without any suspecting. Unless you suspect them, you don't remove them. Vade in the south of Mechinum, for sure you can't get rid of him for no reason. Mishum shalo yilas salaf chashad, in order not to make upon him a suspecting rumor or whatever. I shall look there. But I'm in Chumas Chasam Sober, look at the response of Chasam Sober, Simon Reish Rav, Gam Kain Kain, it also says like this, that you have to have a good reason. Im Lobe, Tishihi Befir Shala Achar Zman, unless it says Befirs that after the time Shagavlu, that they've set up the boundary, yeah, Kolas Man will be end of the time, Ushnei Atzadim Yofal Mechazim, both sides will be able to back out. The Tarchabal Minim Mechadish will need a new accepting and new counting if they want to do it again. I ain't trying to look there. Nifla Lishmo, but there's the book, the Siddur is for sure wrote for his name. Perish Nifla L'Shem Shemayim for sure wrote for Hashem's name. This is from the Mariel, not for the person's name, but for Hashem's name. V'lo L'Shem Matzis and not for the name of, not for the sake of being splendorous, it's the communal book, it's for Hashem. Even if the Siddur belongs to a single person, who B'chtav Na, Yosim Me'atzibor, it's a nicer writing than the rest of the congregation. This is a sham. With Svarim Handin Fasim, in the books which are printed, there's no difference if it's a Tzibur book or a Yachal book, it's a printed book, they're all the same. It's from the Taz. Kosovo Pri Megadim, the Pri Megadim says, Nachon after Yachal is proper even for a single person to daven, even from a book, even from a Siddur. Kolshkin to the Tzibur Shehema Tzibur Allah, that the fear of this congregation is on them. She's followed with him, he should daven from inside a book. Or Siddur. The current Shliach Tzibur Chazan, they call the Shliach Tzibur Chazan. Shetzarach Lerosa Heif Kar, the reason, because he has to see how to read. The Tirgum V'yar B'chazi. And the translation of V'yar means is Chazi, similar to the word Chazan. So it's called the Chazan because he has to see. It's from the Ridah. Yishtabach doesn't start with a Baruch. Because it's connected to Bar Shamar. It's connected to Bar Shamar. Shestem Nistanu al Pesukah de Zimra, because both of them are set up on Pesukah de Zimra. V'zul Ifneim, V'zul Achrayim. This before this and this one after. Okay, the Mishnah says, V'afagav the Pesukah Mafsika Meinim, even though this Pesukah separating between them, this is from the back on the Gra. Ulavi Hafsik doesn't count as a Hafsik. Kamol Bracha, Chwana, just like the end Bracha, the Kriya Shema, which are in Kriya Shema, O Shabahal, or in Halal, Shagam Kevena Mitzchal Baruch Miyai Gavna, in Kriya Shema and Halal, they also don't start with a Baruch, and for this reason, because they're connected to a Bracha before them with Pesukah in between. from this reason. In days, Inlan is the main after Melech Muhula B'Tish B'Chos. You shouldn't say a main after Melech Muhula B'Tish B'Chos. Elach Chei Olamim. Rather after the part of Chei Olamim. Shesham Hu Siyam Bracha. That is the end of the bracha. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah says B'Tish B'Chos. Zu Hay Nischaso. This was his Nosach. Say Muhula B'Tish B'Chos. This is from the Magen Avram. Avanus Nuscha Seinu, but our Nosach Kemal Gadol B'Tish B'Chos is how we have Kemal Gadol B'Tish B'Chos. Rotzolam means to say the Shulchan Aruch said She'after Shesiyam Shdei Tzibur B'Ti Yishtabach Baruch Hashem. After Shdei Tzibur said and Yishtabach Baruch Hashem Kemal Gadol B'Tish B'Chos, all those words. Lo Yanish Shabbatim Zeh Al Zeh Amen. A certain person shouldn't say about this Amen. Zakati will have Siyam Bracha. It's not the end of the bracha. At She'amar Gamkein Kelo Dos until he also says Kelo Dos. Add Chei Olamim until he says all the way to Chei Olamim. When also Chei Olamim Yesh Garsim Etzeri, when the words Chei Olamim, some have the words have a Tzeri. This one the Prima Gadim. Yesh Garsim Patach, some have a Patach. Mafila Das do, even according to his opinion, Mikol Makom Yomer HaOlamim, still say Olamim V'Hei. Don't say Olamim. He Perushu Chai B'Shtei Olamim, because the explanation of it is he lives in the two worlds. And he rules in this world and the next world. Shishamhu Siyam Bracha Zorchin Imotur Oz Lahafsik Ulahanos Amen. If it's mutter then to make a separation to answer Amen, Yesh Meraba Ukadusha and Kedusha Kimi Afer Ki Maimer Echud Ansov, because it's all one thing until the end. Look at the Chayadim Klal Hey. Sifir Gimel, the Bechol Bracha Ketzor, with every short bracha, also the Hafsik B'Em Tzitzot to make a separation between it. Afilu Amin Yesh Merab, even to say Amin Yesh Merab from the middle of a short bracha, of Kedusha. And also Kedusha you couldn't answer. V'yesh Techal, you can make a difference between Kiyam Achadol and the whole thing. Mitzvah Kliyan. Need the end if you can. Okay. Gimel Hamisabah ben Yishtabach, the Yotzer, one who speaks between Yishtabach and Yotzer, Aver he be other with a sin in his hands. And you would go back from the legions of the war. I'm not sure exactly what Ma'arfe means, but you would be sent back from the war because there's a sin that could cause death. So you got to go back if you were in a war. Yesh mi shom knows to say that for the needs of the congregation or to set up tzedakah. To someone who needs comes to be supported by the tzedakah box, he has no other way. Then it would be mutter to make a separation. And this is spread out what is a custom in many places. To make the bracha for a chola or the kabbalah basic necessity, or to accept in the shul, shiyasul din ben yishtabach liyotzer, that he's going to do a din for this person, or make it do a court case ben yishtabach liyotzer, between yishtabach and yotzer. The chozeh mikvah l'tzarach mitzvah, because all this is called for this native mitzvah. And afterwards, kishachozin leispal, when they go back to that, and in yom hashdei tzibur miktzas psuki d'zimra, he'll say a little bit of psuki d'zimra v'yom kadosh alem, and then say kadosh on that. Because the olamim omer kadosh below, it's the heel of the fanel. You can never say Kaddish without saying some sort of praises before this, and then saying Yishtabach on those praises. Therefore we start Marv below Kaddish without a Kaddish, because there's no praises before it. Okay? Similar, someone doesn't have to remember tzitzis, it's tefillin, or tefillin. They brought them between Kaddish and Yishtabach, between Yishtabach and Kaddish. Yochel and Yichem levarach, was able to put them on and make a bracha on them. Avol bein Kaddish levarach, but between Kaddish and Baruch lo yafzik, you shouldn't make a separation between those. B'shum davar, with anything. This is from the Yoreh Zerua in the Perek Tfilas Shachar. V'kol shein shelo yafzik la'achar sham shtei ativim. For sure you shouldn't make a half between after shtei ativim said Baruch who called them shemaskilin berachos yotzer, before he started the bracha of Yotzer. This is from the Beit Yosef and the Sol Simon and Zion, the Shem Manhig Hamanik, and the comments of Simon and Zion. Okay, let's do the Mishnah Berurah. Hamasaper, one who speaks. The book Seven Kosev Lomer, and the writings it says to say. This is from the Magen Avram. By Seresi made Shuva, in the Seresi made Shuva, Mizmor Mamakim, the Mizmor Mamakim Krasich Hashem, Ben Yisham Kliot, they say that between Mamakim, between Yisham Kliot, Vitzorachim. Okay. If you should say it, you could say it. Marva Malchama, from the people who come back from the Malchama, Rotzalama, the because the Pasuk says, who's the man is afraid and has a soft heart, the base should return and go back to his house. So Amr Chazal say, should be yelled that someone who's afraid of the sins in his hands. Vizu Gam came this is also included in the sin he. Veli Rabbi Kosev B'Shem Mati Moshe, the Yeli Rabbi says, writes the name of the Mati Moshe, Shah Klipos Mevatel La'alos Atfila, that the Klipos, some sort of spiritual shells, Mevatel La'alos Atfila, they Mevatel to go up to davening. But he did Pesukah de Zimra, Machrisin also, and through Pesukah de Zimra, they destroy those shells. And Kushasach, when he speaks, closer to how they come back from those shells. Vishvil Avera has also, because of the sin, Osam Hagidudim, Shehem Mari, fine. Okay. Osam Hagidudim, those armies, Shehem Marithim al Makama, Beinenu, Abavanu Sinarab, that they set up a war between us and with our many sins. Al Kain Roy Shul, the Sabbath, therefore it's fitting not to speak, to destroy those, have those klipos destroyed for davening. Lift so tzedakah, to set up tzedakah, but who adin the kol davar shemitzvah, the same thing would be for any matter of mitzvah. But after being yishtabach liyotzer, specifically between yishtabach and yotzer, shu and yanachah, which is a different thing. Abu bein kaddish to baruch hu, between kaddish and baruch hu, or bein haprokim, or between the paragraphs, shal kriya shema b'rachoseh, between kriya shema and its brachos, o shal pesukah de zimra, or you're in shal pesukah de zimra, also the haftig afilu tzorch l'rabim, and be also to make a haftig even for the needs of the public. The Dvar Mitzvah and for a need or for a public need. We could look at on Simon and Alef Siftal. They say later on Simon and Alef Siftal. Eli Rabba Vagra is in the Eli Rabba and the Gra, the Elf Simon and Alef Shem Ayin Shom. Ashlil Tibur. Masha Lafilim Lo Amar Rak Hulavad. Even if he just said himself, a Pesukah Miyachalam Kaddish, he's able to say Kaddish about this. Even if he just said the Shlil Sibur alone has one saying the Pesukah, so you normally have everyone doing it, still okay. Mixed us Pesukah Zimra, a few Pesukah Zimra. If he doesn't say any Pesukah, Lo Yom Kaddish, then he shouldn't say Kaddish, just start. Rak Yaskal Baruch Hu B'Lo Kaddish, just start Baruch Hu without doing any Kaddish. This is from the Magen Avram. Shali Olam Lo Timsa Kaddish, B'Li Pesukah B'Net, we never find Kaddish without Pesukah before it. Im Lo Shlil Sibur Acher Chazaras Atfila, unless we're talking about a Shlil Sibur after return doing Chazaras Hashas, or quietly at Marv. Shakadish Koyal of Tefillah, the Kaddish is going on the davening. But the Magen Avram bright, Shalakay Noag will all increase the Shema, therefore that's we are at least have the men cutting up the Shema. Baruch Hu Nikris priest the Shema. Baruch Hu is called cutting up the Shema, we could look at him with similar to some tests. After Gamad Tefillah Shmonas, you have to complete in Shmonas Ribul Achash, Kadesh Yomer HaKaddish Al Tefillah Shmonas, we know that you're able to say the Kaddish on Tefillah Shmonas. Okay. But afterwards, Lo Shayach Lomer Kaddish, Im Lomer Techila Miktas Psukim. But afterwards, But afterwards, not shy to say Kaddish if you didn't say first a few Psukim. But now new things have come close. Bo Sheparsim Shema Acha Kaddish Basra, V'Omrim Shein is Kaddish. That they okay, so they cut up Shema after the last Kaddish, and then they say a second time Kaddish. Okay, Ve'enu Nachon is not right what they're doing that. So they finish the last Kaddish, they say another part Shema, and then they say new Kaddish is not right. What's the topic? What's the idea? Say two Kedushim next to each other. At the very least, you should teach them to say a few Psukim before they do Kedushim. Below tehillah without any praise, or after tefillah or after davening. So it could be some sort of praise, it could be some sort of davening. Commotion is happening with Sefkad, as I said in the last Sefkad. Similarly, after you learn this or whatever topic from Torah Shabbat Peh. You Cholom Kaddish Rabban, you're able to say a Kaddish Rabban. Behind Magen Avraham, look at the Magen Avraham to Masik, and after Mamar Achar that Al Kapan and Miktas Davar Agad, it's only if you say after this a little bit of a Gada. You Cholom Kaddish Rabban, and then you're able to say the Kaddish Rabban. Kiyakur Kaddish that Nifkan Al Davar Agada, because this main Kaddish is set up about Davar Agada. Valkain Minag Kol Yisrael, therefore the Minag of all of Israel. Loma after Pirkei Avos to say after Pirkei Avos, V'achar b'Memalikin, or to say after Memalikin. Hamayim Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha, that they say the Maim of Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha. O Amar Rabbi Elazar, or they say the Maim of Amar Rabbi Elazar. Amar Rabbi Chanina, Tamid Yicham Maim Shalom, that the Tamid Yicham Big Shalom. They say this other psukim in order to be able to say Kaddish. Leviza Yesh Dezarim, because this you should be careful, because Shalom the Mishnayos, Yom V'Sof Limud, when he's learning Mishnayos, to say at the end of the Limud, that's from the Prima Gadim, Maim Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha, we could to say this Maim Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha and stuff like that. Veshu Cholam Lomar Al Yidei, the knowledge of be able to say through this, Achar Kaf Kaddish Derban, and the Kaddish Derban after this. After Tanakh, Kaddish Shalom, and after Tanakh, you can also say Kaddish Shalom. Afilu Rak Achar Shlosh Psukim, even though just after 3 Psukim, this from the Prima Gadim. Ve'en Lomar Kaddish Shalom Kain. You can't say Kaddish unless there's 10 people in the basic Knesset, but Shasimir Psukim the limit. At the time when they're saying this Psukim and learning. Of Moshe is Barber Simon and Hey, clearing Simon and Hey, Mishnah Berurah. Sivkat and Beis. Afilu Imrak Shnayim, even if it's just 2 people. From Shlosha, Lomdim, even if there's just 2 or 3 people learning, Omrim Kaddish, Kashiyesham, sorry, you could say Kaddish when there's 10 people. It's from the Magen Avraham and Simon to Samach Tes, Hashem Alef Hamud, this is just need 2 or 3 learners. Even the one who didn't learn, he was able to say the Kaddish, come over, preach the Shema, just like they just separate cutting up of Shema, we're going to say later on in Simon Samach Tes. Arvis full of Kaddish, you have married without a Kaddish. Behind the Kaddish, Simon Samach Tes, Masha Kasav, and Hashem B'Zeh, look at Simon Samach Tes, what we wrote about this. Okay, Mishalo Hayalo says he didn't have tzitzis. The Koza who learned Tzarech Mitzvahs is all called Tzarech Mitzvahs, someone who didn't have tzitzis and has it now, and he has to make a bracha. Okay, Mutzah have sick, therefore it's to make a separation. After he's finished Yishtabach, he can start making a separation. This is Pashit, and it's Muchach Le'el B'Simen and Alef, Sif Dalad, B'Agah, Shom, Uber Agra, B'Simen, and Gimel, B'Sif Kim. Heavy Yolo, they brought it to him. Bein Yaka, Bein the Shliach Tzibur, whether for the Yaka, whether for the Shliach Tzibur. This is from the Mukhach B'Pnim, it's from the inside. And this is from the Magen Avraham. V'afim using an Ayihu L'Tzibur L'Hamti, even though it's degrading for the congregation to wait. Mikol Makam Ha'il the Yeshua L'Lavos, since it's impossible without this. Sure, it's okay, because he didn't have tefillin or tzitzis until now. It was that Ein Sarach HaShliach Tzibur L'Chazul L'Omer Psukim. With this Shliach doesn't have to go back and say more Psukim. The Shahiyah, we have to see it's a very short delay on tefillin and talis. From there, near the B'Yachad Meir, we're talking about a single person. But often Shahiyah Yachal Ligmar Hanachas Talis with tefillin Kodem Shigiyah Shliach Tzibur L'Amin Yesh Me'Rabba. And we're talking about in the case where he's able to put on. Where he's able to put on the thousand tefillah before he answers the man Yesh Me'Rabba, if it's a single person. Baruch Hu, and he'd be able to say Baruch Hu. Osha Kavar, Neshama Kaddish Baruch Hu, or he's already heard a Kaddish Baruch Hu. Yilav Hochi, that without this, Halu Kamilam B'Simen Kafei, to also have to be Ashel Yad, Ashel Ros. So we ask him later on, Simen Kafei, it's also to make a separation to speak between Ashel Yad and Ashel Rosh. I feel like not to Menesh Rabba, even to answer Menesh Rabba Baruch Hu. El Shosik B'Shomer, rather you would have to be quiet and hear. Mechavan Mashom, and listen to what he intend for what is being said. And this is improper to do lachafil. It says that the biyotzi was just this hearing and stopping. The kamelon, even according to what we passed in the shemet bakona, the hearing is like ants responding. Kinemuchal b'brachos kavalaf and beis, proven in brachos kaval and beis, but also to be a maskal. Ad Barasham and the Molosser, but opens that Tov Yoser, Shiamtim Elahani al Tefillin. In this kind of case, better to just away from putting on Tefillin. Achi Simon Shliach Tzibur until the Shliach Tzibur concludes Baruch Hu Ba'azi Nicham, and then put them on after Baruch Hu. L'Anyan Barachos. I am as if cut in the Samach in regards to Baruch Hu. Look at the next it's cotton. Being Kaddish and Baruch Hu. So if he's putting it on here and he has the time talking. What's let me just say? Mishasha Hiskil Kaddish. From the time he started Kaddish. This is from the Magen Avraham. You can't, once you say Kaddish, you can't make any break between Baruch. The Kaddish Baruch Hu Gam Kein Shayach, the Kaddish Baruch Hu is also applicable. The Haim V'Achronim Kshikosu being Kaddish Baruch Hu. Look at the Achronim right there between Kaddish and Baruch Hu. This is from the Yili Rabbah and the Pri Megadim. Dino Nechol Mili Kamen. A prophet is din is like all stab stuff like between paragraphs. The same din is there. This is from Aflin and Sheila Shalom in regards to answering Shalom Aleichem. Shabbos also and responding to Shalom Aleichem, which we said you can answer to any person and respond and ask Shalom to a person who you have to give cover to. Mina Prakam. Mateka Macha Baruch Hu, and immediately after Baruch Hu, Avshalo Histo Adayim Birchos Yotzer, even if he hasn't started the Baruch of Yotzer, Havi Ke'em Parak, it's like the middle of a parak. The Misham Ve'elachu K'tzilas Yotzer, from there on it's like the beginning of Yotzer. Because the main intent of what he said when the Shliach Tzibur, when he says Baruch Hu es Hashem, they should bless Hashem. Hainu sheyivarchu achar beberachos Yotzer. That is, that they should bless him Hashem afterwards with the bracha of Yotzer. Okay, therefore, Ben Yachud and Ben Shliach Tzibur im lozin damin lo talis. Therefore, whether it's a Yachud, whether it's a Shliach Tzibur, this is from the Pri Megadim. If he doesn't have a talis to him, Hiskil Kaddish until he started Kaddish, Yachol Nisante Poteka, if he's able to put it on immediately, Avalo Yavarach Adach, but he shouldn't make a bracha to it until after davening. So Odd Yimashmish, and then he'll move it around, the Yavarach will make a bracha on it. With Tefillin him Nizamin Lo Kodem Baruch Hu, and Tefillin if he has it to him before Baruch Hu, Yachol Baruch Hu, he's able to make the bracha before Baruch Hu. The Vimash Yiskim Achronim Besimin Samachov, according to the Achronim Gering Simin Samachov, Yachol Baruch Hu Tefillin Ben Parachim, that you're able to make a bracha on Tefillin between the paragraphs. But if it didn't happen to him, until he started Baruch Hu, and he's no longer able to make a bracha. What he should do is put them on without a bracha, because when it becomes before, when he reaches just before Abba Rabba, and then he'll move them around when he gets to Abba Rabba and make a bracha on them. Look later on. Look at after he says Still Tzibur Baruch Hu before he started Baruch Yotzer, so then he can't make any break. In Lashon and Muchas, Afilu Yachid will Yachid. In this language, it proves even a single person shouldn't make a hafsik. Okay. So I'm Mr. Kadden. I call him looking Kadden. We said earlier. The near the Kolza Dafka Ba'ofen Shemari. B'fnim. This also talking about with the same case which we talked about earlier, or talked about inside. Dahainu shekvar gomer berachas ishtabach, which is that he already finished the berachas ishtabach, only the haskell berachas yotzor, and he's starting to say berachas yotzor. Avol imhu osek adayim b'psukkah zimra, but if he's still in the middle of psukkah zimra, v'kol shekein im ba atzil ispal, I'm sure if it just came right now to daven, rotzil ispal, considering he wants to daven normally, will dalik psukkah zimra, doesn't want to skip psukkah zimra, will lift off and berachas yotzor and start from your berachas yotzor, v'shama v'kadosh baruch and Shema and Kaddish and Baruch Hu, doesn't want to do that. Ain't you know Bazak Hem to parak that doesn't have the din like this in the middle of a parak. According to everyone is able to put on talis tefillin and the Baruch Hu make a bracha on them. I'm goes from my going to Chaim Sender. Look at the responses of Chaim Sender. This is the Humasik Sham al Rambah. There's answers on the Rambah with the Rav Nifak as far as Raman according to the words ends. It's good as far as the Rav the Sphere. The Kibbutz Shomea Baruch was into here Baruch Hu Me'esh Leil Tibur, but only L'Chaim Devar, and he wants to fulfill his words. Lahaskil Berfaziotu to start Berfaziotu, or Nechshava Kem so Perik it counts in the middle of a Perik. Behind the Kamu Simu Koftam test with Vav, the Beragral Sham and the Beragral there. Omim Kaddish, main Omim also Pakistan. Sorry, you can say Kaddish, you can't say less than 10 people. Zecharim, V'nei they have to be males, and the free people, the Dolim, Shaviu, they stars. So the great old people already have 2 hairs. Okay, and we'll get back to the Omrim for the last step. So they say, Kasher told them my brachos, Kaf told them my Kadishim, just like it's good to be less than brachos, not say too many brachos, so too it's good to be less than the Kadishim, not to be same as many Kadishim. This is from the Knesset Gedolah. Okay. I'm look at them from Shakar Tego al Zef, they call like a fight about this. Shanasim Asar Vinyan, they gather 10 people from Kama Kaddish and say many Kaddish, Al Psukim Torah and Psukim of Torah, or Mishnah or Gemara and a Mishnah or a Gemara. Asar Yehudim, the Loazim, just 10 Jews which are speak the normal language. Shemi Shiodei B'Lashon HaKodesh, none of them know the language of Lashon HaKodesh. The Otziot Midei Chawasim, in order to be Otziot them their obligation. Yuchol Echam Mehem Lios Shtil Tibor V'Lo Merkadosh V'Kedusha B'Lashon Haz. So it's able, one of them is to be the Shtil Tibor and say Kaddish and Kedusha in the language of the normal language. This is from the Dover Shmuel Siman Shin Kafal. Kaddish is a Kaddish. Pirish Achab B'Sukkot Zimra after B'Sukkot Zimra. But being in a Asar you need 10 people. Shekol Davar Kedusha could go in Kaddish Kedusha for everything which Kedusha, for example, Kaddish Kedusha Baruch Hu Kriyas Torah and Siyas Kapayim, and Baruch Hu and reading the Torah and the Kohanim's blessings from the Megillah of Gimel. In Omer Moshe Pachah, Asar you can't say less than 10 people. Shneim V'Kedashtem B'Soch B'nei Yisrael, it says you should sanctify them in the midst of B'nei Yisrael. Yofinu V'Gzer Shavah the Tov Toch, V'Lem from V'Gzer Shavah Tov Toch, Miraglim from the Meraglim, the Ksiv Hamasalei Da'Ra Azos, until the when is this bad congregation. Yotz Yeshua V'Kolav, excluding Yeshua and Kolav, Nishar Asari, they're going to have left with 10 others. The Kurim Eidah, they're called Eidah. The Kola Kadishim, and so they can do 10 for Davar Shabbat. The Kola Kadishim Shamazah, all Kadishim are Shamazah. This is from the Shir Knesset Gedolah. Afilu Kaddish Rabban, even Kaddish Rabban, Shachar, Alim, which is after Liman, is again, you need 10. Katav Taz, the Eight Samirs Pesukah Zimra, the Taz says the time of saying Pesukah Zimra, Ein Zorach Asar, you don't need 10 people for this. The Afilu Imam Bua B'Yachlidas, even if you say alone Pesukah Zimra, Kol Shir Shasar B'Shas Mirs Kaddish Daibakaf, as long as it's 10 people at the time of Kaddish, it's enough for this. V'cheidim Rizkil Ispal Arvis B'Yachlidas, similar if he does start dominating Marv single, alone. Ubo Asar Le'es Amirs Kaddish, and 10 people came for the time of the Kaddish. Yochalam or Kaddish, they're able to say the Kaddish. V'chein B'chol Limid, and similar with ever learning, Shalom Loma, the person learns. P'sukim or Agad, there's only P'sukim or Agad, B'Amir Salenu, we're saying Alenu, B'Amir Sashri, Shekodim Mincha, we're saying the Ashrim for Mincha, B'Amir Stilim. The Boka, we're saying the Tilm in the morning. In B'chaya B'li Minyan, if he does this without a Minyan, but in the time it take a Minyan, immediately happens a Minyan. Shir Shalom or Kaddish, you should say Kaddish. If Magan Avam B'Simin Samakas, Reish Lam Dal, B'Chaz V'Kim, the Magan Avam B'Simin Lam Shantas, and Reish Lam Dal write this. V'chim Yagrab B'Simin Reish Lam Dal Mukha, Ka Magan Avam, similarly from the Grad proven, and Reish Lam Dal, like the Magan Avam, Al-Kain. Therefore, Yishkim Achonim, the Koronim agree, this from the Pri Megadim and the Chaim and the Sharp, so Poskim and other Poskim. To not much Yom Rachkaf Mizmor, it's proper to say after there's some sort of Mizmor, or Shlosh Pesukim, or 3 Pesukim, the Yom Kaddish, and say Kaddish. Chaim the Pri Megadim, look at the Pri Megadim, Mishra Sol Zavs, Os Gimel, the Mukham in the Lanium Pesukah, the Zimmer Lanium, and they prove from this that in regards to Pesukah, the Zimmer, and in regards to Tfilas Marv, Arv, and Marv, Gamkin, a Magan of Ramoda, Taz, so to the Magan of Ram's Modus, the Taz, that you would have to be there. for another, you wouldn't have to be there. You could agree. You could just say Kaddish without the. The only have to be males. The Afuka Nashim to exclude women, Ravadim, and slaves and young kids. One thing symptom of androgynous and same thing symptom of androgynous, which are not clear. They're either both genders or their genders covered. Machati Evan and Machati Ben Koran are half slave and half freed. Enam Mitzdarf they wouldn't combine for a minion. That's when the Prima Gadol. Gedolim, they have to be big people. I'm pretty to be old enough. I'm pretty college looking for college given Samatash, the car that Samatash right. Irol Makomas who protests about the place of Shinogum, Shakatanom Makadish Baruch, they have this the cotton saying Kaddish and Baruch, Makalon and Machorav, and the congregation is answering after him, the Shalok is in him also and not doing properly. Mafilu Mieshasar Noshim Gedolim Chutzmi man, even if there's 10 people aside from that cotton, it still be no good. I'm a prima gadol, prima gadol, Shams Mitzadeh, Gamkin, the half of the is also decides to be mafar about this, the Rafila, you shouldn't be doing this Rafila. Kotzvi Elchot Ketana, Simmons Memches, look at it writes in the Elchot Ketana, Simmons Memches, Shkizishnaim, or Shlosha Omer Memches, when 2 or 3 people are saying Kaddish Yachad together, Ve'acha Makdim, one of them saying does it first, and Boim Kolecha Tolchot Dibur, if they're both coming at the same time in Tolchot Dibur, Yana, in Marisha, he should respond with the first one, or Ma'achon, or he can answer with the second one if he wants. Amen, V'yal, the Fulam, and you say Amen, it'll work for both of them. If there's a long enough space between them, break between them, Kedei Dibur, Yana al Kolecha, Ve'achad, he should respond for each one. Adam Anotzer, Al Yizei, Sefer Yitzira, some person man was created to this book of Yitzira. If he can be combined for a minute of 10, we'll hold over Kedusha for some or for everything of Kedusha. I am B'Tshuvah Slacham Tzvi Simon Samagim. Look at the Chacham Tzvi Samagim. Over Sefer Ekri Dinim, Mashakatzim and Yanzan Sefer Ekri Dinim. What it says about this. Bein Kaddish between Kaddish. I'm a Mishnah Berura. Look at the Mishnah Berura. Mashakasav the Bein Kaddish the Baruch Hu Dino Kabein Baruchim. That is between Kaddish and Baruch Hu is the same din between the paragraphs. When God says Eli Rab and similar says the Eli Rab of the Tiko Prima Gadol is copied over from the Prima Gadol. Makashli, and the question is: the Halo or Ramah Pasuk b'Simon Pei doesn't put Ramah Pasuk b'Simon Pei and the God b'Simon Samakov is Pei. The Al Tefillin Yuchal of Baruch upon him bein a bracha. That on Tefillin is able to make a bracha between bein a bracha. Lokomotion Muchal Kam Kem b'Sifkas b'Sham b'Agad is proven there also in Sifkas b'Agad. Ein Sham B'Chudish Ruvikever. Look there in Shulish Ruvikever Prima Gadol the most Sham. Imgain and my comer the loyafsik b'Sham Domer. If so, why does he say that you shouldn't make a hafsik between it with anything? Hali in his feeling the Iri Leil Minei. But in regards to tefillin, which we were talking about earlier, you could have six, then you could make a half six. So why do you think you can't? The ain lomer you can't say the Ramah has it lashon or is it rules that the Ramah is just copying over lashon or is rules, but leilas really doesn't hold that way. All over the Ramah hamuva b'darkei Moshe, but isn't it in the Ozer which is brought in the darkei Moshe l'muskar klal tefillin rak talis. He doesn't mention it all tefillin, just mention talis. After the Ramah coming with that, it's possible the Ramah is saying about this. The Fidas Yeshomim Shambaga, according to the Yeshomim there in the Hagav, Lola Dasatman, according to his opinion, that you could put on tefillin. He's talking according to my opinion that you can't. Shubri Sibeagraf, because further found in the Be'agraf, okay, which writes, Abul Bemba between the Misham Be'ela Chukatzil Yotzer, from there on is like the beginning of Yotzer. Uncle Nisham, that's the end of his language. Mashma Minets implies from that the Metchilas Kaddish V'Halaf, from the beginning of Kaddish and onwards, Hukem Tzaperak, it's not like between parak, but it's like the middle of a parak. Okay, Nichla Kol, so everything makes sense. In this part, Sham the Be'em Tzaperak also Kedusha Rebbe Kiveger. If you're going to hold that over there, it's also in the middle of a parak like Rechulish Rebbe Kiveger and the Prima Gadol Sham over there that say that you can't do put on tefillin. So here you can't put on tefillin because it's the beginning, it's in the middle of a parak. Amnam, however, the Beragro over there, B'Simin Beis Mulchach Meid, the Sover del Ramah, it's proven from if the Ramah holds the Mekel in Tefillin Mutter Afil Be'em Tzaperak. You can make it by tefillin even in the middle of a parak. Mkain Tzarachli and Amay Hafmir Aramapo. If so, Nidian, why is the Ramah being mafir in regards to tefillin? V'Akorfu Ketivu Terushin, you're going to have to say like the first answer, the Ramah Azul Po Lefidas Yeshomim Sham, that the Ramah is going here according to Dash the Yeshomim there. That you can't do it, but really he holds the foot.